Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim, yatkripatamaham vande paramanandamadhavam, sthapakaya cha dharmasya, sarvadharmasvarupine, avatara varishtaya, ramakrishnaya te namaha, ratnakara dhautapadam, himalaya kiritinim, brahmarajarshiratnadhyam, vande bharatamatam, sadashiva samarambham, shankaracharya madhyamam, asmadacharya paryantam, vande guru parampara. Welcome everyone to this unique course on the stories from the Upanishads, lessons for a meaningful life. We are on the 10th day of this course where we are studying different stories from various Upanishads. Today, let's directly get into the story. Once upon a time, when Bharat had many kingdoms, and out of which there were many small kingdoms and many big, huge kingdoms. And here was one famous kingdom called Videha kingdom, which was ruled by a dynasty called Janaka. Most of us would have heard about Janaka in different contexts. One being the Itihasa, Ramayana, the heroine of the Ramayana, Sita's father being the Janaka. Then in the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, a person, a jnani, will be like Janaka. One side, he will be doing the Karma Yoga. On the other side, he would have the knowledge. And in the Ashtavakra Samhita also, we come to know about the great Janaka seeking the highest knowledge from the Ashtavakra. So, Janaka is not one person's name, Janaka being the family or dynasty's name. They are ruling the Videha kingdom in such a dharmic way, where even the prajas are also dharmic. Yatha Raja, Tatha Praja. And he was so famous for his generosity, where he used to give gifts on the occasion of doing any yajna or yaga, or even otherwise. Once he got an intense desire to do a yaga, a mahayaga, for the welfare or the well-being of the whole world. So he arranged that, and he invited scholars and pandits from across the Bharat, across country. Now, from different countries, even the Upanishad says, not just the Videha kingdom, people and scholars had come from different kingdoms like the Panchala, like the Kuru, and many others. Why? One being it was a Mahayaga, and the other so that they can even get gifts, dana or dakshina. So all have gathered, thousands of people have come, hundreds of scholars have come, gathered for this Mahayaga. And Mahayaga is for the welfare of the whole world. And this yaga was completed after giving the dakshina and danam. And Janaka, sitting on the throne, sees a huge gathering, and then again he gets one more desire. Many may be thinking, what could be the desire? Is desire not good, right? But desire not for himself, but for something else. This time, when he saw a huge gathering, he got a desire to know something. Till now, he was having a desire to do something. Now, it is to know something. He felt thousands of people are here, hundreds of scholars are gathered here, and in such an august audience I am here. Should I not learn something? Is it only materialistic pursuits, or is it something spiritual that I require? So, he thought of that desire and came up with a plan. And what plan? He came and announced to the whole audience of scholars. He told, now I am going to keep a competition. You are all going to face a competition, and whoever is going to win, the advertisement is the prize amount. What is the prize amount? 1,000 cows, hale and healthy, strong, which gives so many liters of milk. Such beautiful cows were kept in front of them, and not just that. For each cow there are 2 horns, and for each horn there was a golden coin which was tied onto the horn. So 2,000 gold coins along with 1,000 cows. And all the scholars were very happy looking at the generosity. But Janaka told, it is not for danam, it is for a competition. Whoever wins the competition will get it as a prize. And everyone were like, yes, I will also win. Let me take thousands of cows and along with 2,000 gold coins. Who will not aspire for it? And we all know, at those times, scholars were voluntarily taking poverty, and most of them were not even having proper comfortable life. And when they can get such a good thing, they obviously tried for it. But everyone were looking at what the competition is. Then Janaka came and told, now I see the scholars, but I don't see the scholarship. In this august audience, I want to know who is the greatest jnani, who is the greatest scholar of the Veda, who is the great Brahmajnani, who knows Brahman, who is established in Brahman, and who can expound Brahman in a great way. This was the competition. And everyone were like, yes, I too know Brahman, I too know Veda, but if I say that I am the greatest, will it be right? Or am I the greatest? Even if I am the greatest, if I go and tell, will it not be arrogance? So everyone were thinking like that, and no one came forward. No one came forward. And it was a pure silence. Janaka, with that hope of getting jnanam, he organized this competition, but no one is coming up. He felt very bad. He felt sad. He was disappointed. With such great intense desire to know something, I arranged this competition, but no one is coming front. What should I do? He had his hand on his head. What should I do next? At that time, few people were making small noises, and one person came front. One person came front, and he directly came front and called his disciple called Samashravas. Hey Samashravas, come here. His disciple came and he told, Samashravas, take all these 1,000 cows to our hermitage, our Gurukula, and we can feed our Gurukula children. And everyone were making noise, because does he think he is the greatest jnani? How arrogant he is? Are we not jnanis? And without even going through the competition, he is taking the cattle. This is not right. And everyone started murmuring. Everyone started to a kind of chaotic situation arose there. How can this happen? And Janaka finally felt at least one person came up to say that he is the jnani. But to bring that chaotic situation to a normal situation, there was one person called Ashvala. Ashvala. He came forward and stopped Samashravas. Samashravas, wait. Wait. And he called this person, how dare you take these cows without winning the competition? This is not dhanam, this is not dakshina to take whatever you want. This is competition. You need to prove your scholarship before taking this. So, how dare you take this? Then this person, the hero of this episode, he says, okay, what is the competition about? Didn't you hear what the competition is about? It is about knowing the greatest jnani, the greatest Brahmajnani. Do you feel you are the greatest jnani? Do you feel you are the greatest Brahmajnani? Prove your scholarship first. Then this person says, I don't know whether I am the greatest jnani. I prostrate to all the Brahmajnanis who are seated here. But I want these cows because there are thousands of students who are in my Gurukula who can be fed with these cattle. That's why I am taking. Then this Ashvala became angry, and he became the representative of the whole assembly, saying, without proving scholarship, you can't take this. Then Yajnavalkya, the hero of the story, he said, okay, I am ready to face the challenge. Just imagine, Yajnavalkya called his disciple Samashravas and said, you take this cattle group, herd of cattle, and the disciple himself is a Samashravas, meaning the knower of Samaveda. The disciple is a Samavedi, and what to talk about the Guru? He is a Chaturvedi and beyond. That is Yajnavalkya, the hero of the story. And Ashvala came forward representing the whole group and made him to sit in front of him. He sat in front of him, and Janaka was too happy to see the debate, because we all know during discussions and debates, the knowledge will be churned and wisdom arises. The light of knowledge comes. He is eagerly waiting, and he felt, yes, my desire is fulfilled now. At that time, Ashvala, he with courage and with arrogance comes and challenges Yajnavalkya. The courage he had was one about his scholarship, because he was one of the Navaratnas, the 9 jewels in the kingdom of Janaka, and he was responsible for all the rituals that were conducted in the Janaka's kingdom, the Videha kingdom. He had that scholarship, but more than that, he had the arrogance and courage, because his king was his side. His king was his side. So with that confidence, he comes and challenges Yajnavalkya. He says, Yajnavalkya, now face my questions, prove your scholarship and take these cattle. Yajnavalkya, with humility, with humbleness, says, as you please. You can ask any question, I will try to answer. Ashvala, he asks the first question, very basic question. What is that? He says, in our kingdom and in all kingdoms of the Vaidika dharma, Vaidika lifestyle, everyone does one or the other karmas, the Vaidika karmas. For what? To get fulfillment, to get happiness, to go to different lokas. Let's call it as heaven. But even after doing that, why people are not so fulfilled or contented or in eternal peace? Then Yajnavalkya says, all the people who are doing karma cannot get fulfillment because karma leads to maximum of heaven, and from heaven also people have to come down and suffer in the same land until and unless they go beyond karma. Then Ashvala asks, what is beyond karma? What is beyond heaven? Then Yajnavalkya goes to the next level called upasana, the different kinds of meditation techniques, and he says with meditation they can go to a higher level and higher plane in the universe, and from that people can attain higher happiness. But Yajnavalkya concludes there also they will not get complete happiness or complete peace. Mere karma cannot give you complete happiness. Mere meditation cannot give you happiness. Jnana karma samuchaya, meaning upasana and meditation, upasana and karma done together can give you the higher benefit. Then Ashvala asks, is that the final? Then Yajnavalkya says, no, not by karma, not by upasana, one can get the highest. It is only through jnanam one can get the highest. Then Ashvala goes on to trap Yajnavalkya through many difficult questions which is concerned with karma, which is concerned with mrityu and even the kala tattva. For each and every question, Yajnavalkya effortlessly answers and gives a fitting reply. Getting the response from Yajnavalkya, Ashvala says, I accept my defeat. You can take these cows. Yajnavalkya was happy and he was ready to take the cows, and Janaka was also ready to give the cows. But till now, the whole group of scholars who were just listening as spectators, they got the courage, because in India or any part of the globe, one problem is starting problem. When Ashvala came forward to ask questions, all other scholars also felt, we can also ask questions. We can stop this Yajnavalkya from taking these cows along with the golden coins on the horns of cows, but then we can take it. That was the feeling that they had. So one more person came forward saying, Yajnavalkya, stop there. I want to ask more questions. Janaka felt, yes, this is what I wanted. Let me see what this person asks. And the second person who came forward was Artabhaga. The Rishi's name was Artabhaga. He comes forward and starts asking about a different kind of questions on graha and atigraha. And in the whole group, no one was understanding what is graha and atigraha, because most of us may be thinking graha and atigraha means related to some planets, Jyotisha Shastra and all these things. But it is purely technical. It's a technical jargon that was used. And no one could get what he is asking. What is the question? They are not even understanding the question, what to think about the answer. But Yajnavalkya goes on to answer in a fitting reply where he says graha means the sense organs, atigraha means the sense objects, and he gives the intricacies between the sense organs and sense objects, how the interaction takes place, how one person enjoys using the sense objects. And the person, Artabhaga, feels he has understood the question, and once a problem is understood, half the answer is done. Now he has given the answer. He goes back saying, I am defeated. Then the third person comes. The third person is called Bhujyu. He comes forward and asks Yajnavalkya, I have much more questions to ask. Please answer it. Yajnavalkya with humility says, please go on. he started asking questions which were not from the regular gurus that he had received. He had received few knowledge from the Gandharva, from the celestial being called Gandharva. And he asked those intricate questions, thinking no one in this world can know this, because this is a knowledge that I have got from a Gandharva. He asked those questions. Then Yajnavalkya starts answering verbatim. The mantras he starts quoting, and he even says, I know from whom you have got this, and from whom the Gandharva has also got. He gives the complete answer, and that Bhujyu was also satisfied with the answer. He goes back. Then comes the next challenger, and that is Chakrayana. Most of us may be remembering who is Chakrayana, the fifth story that we took in the series, Ushasti Chakrayana. He comes forward and he says, till now you have answered all questions related to karma and upasana. All these are Vedic mantras. Now I want to take you to the next level. It is about Jnanam. I want to ask questions about Jnanam. Are you ready? And Janaka was waiting for this, because he knows the rituals, the meditation technique, but he is eager to know more about the self-knowledge. He is waiting for this moment. And Chakrayana comes forward and asks questions about who am I? Who am I? And he takes the Mahavakya, ahambrahmasmi, and he asks a question about what is the lakshyartha, the implied meaning of the word aham in this ahambrahmasmi. What is the implied meaning? And Yajnavalkya starts expounding the philosophy of the self in such a beautiful way, and concludes aham means not the physical body, not the energy, not the mind, not the intellect, not even the bliss sheath. He goes on to the Pancha Koshas and he says the consciousness behind all these 5 sheaths, that is what is the implied meaning of the word aham, and that you are. That you are. And Chakrayana felt, I came as a challenger, but now I am retreating as a disciple of you. You are the winner. Next, one more person comes, one more scholar, his name being Kahola. He comes forward and starts asking a question in a different technical way, but the question, the essence of the question being the same. What is the question? Who am I? What is I? Even though differently asked, Yajnavalkya was not puzzled. He was not moved away. He was not carried away by the words. He gives the same answer of you as the consciousness being, and you are that Brahman. Because many a times, whenever a person asks same question in a different way, we get puzzled. But Yajnavalkya was very sure about the answer, and he told, reality being the same, I can't give a different answer. The answer is the same. You are that consciousness being. And Kahola also retreated. And everyone were thinking, oh, Yajnavalkya is going to take all 1,000 cattle. And they were looking at the golden coins also. Everyone were feeling that, then this is it. This is over. No one can win over Yajnavalkya. At that time, one person comes forward. One person comes forward. She, being a lady, the daughter of Vachakni Rishi, the mantra drashta, Rishika of Rigvedic mantras, one of the Navaratnas of the Janaka kingdom, a person who has defeated many people, many scholars in many debates, and has got many certificates onto her credit, being one of the greatest Brahmavadini of those times. She comes forward. And who is it? She is none other than the great scholar, that is Gargi. She comes forward. And she comes as a challenger, the greatest challenger for Yajnavalkya. And when she comes forward, the whole gathering became very happy, because she is one of the greatest scholars who was never beaten till that time. And everyone had decided, she being the greatest scholar, she can defeat Yajnavalkya. She comes forward and says, Yajnavalkya, you have proved your scholarship when it comes to the karma and upasana and basic details about Atma Tattva. Now, I am here to ask you more questions about karma and jnana. Are you ready? Yajnavalkya, with confidence, he says, yes, I am ready for it. For the first time, she asks Before I go to the spiritual question, let me ask you about the material world that we see. Do you see the whole world, Yajnavalkya? Yajnavalkya says, yes, I can see. The whole world is pervaded by which principle? Tell me that. She quotes the mantra. She says, Kasminnu sarvam otancha protancha. Tell me, Yajnavalkya, which principle pervades this whole world? Yajnavalkya says, the principle in which the whole material world is pervaded. Then she asks, okay, you have given the principle on which the whole world is pervaded. Tell me, which principle pervades that principle also? Yajnavalkya goes on to tell the second, subtler one. Gargi asks the third one. 9 times Gargi asks the same question, Kasminnu sarvam otancha protancha. On which principle? The principle that you are telling is pervaded. It is something like, first time you say the whole world is created by the elements. And elements, the subtler one is molecules. Subtler than the molecules is atoms. Subtler than the atoms, subatomic particles. Subtler than them is the strings, quarks and many things that are coming up in the scientific field. Similarly, 9 times Yajnavalkya takes Gargi to a subtler and subtler principle. When she understands ninth principle, she asks the 10th time, Kasminnu sarvan otancha protancha. Then Yajnavalkya says, Gargi, ma atisrakshi Gargi. Don't go beyond that, because your reasoning, your head will start reeling and logic cannot reach that place. All others were thinking, just because Yajnavalkya doesn't know the answer, he is telling like this. But Gargi understood. Logic has an end. Tarka has an end. And beyond what was told the 9th time, logic cannot go. She retreats from the challenge. From that, Uddalaka takes forward. And he asks a question about antaryami. Antaryami meaning the principle which moves the whole world and which moves the individual being. And Yajnavalkya expounds in a whole chapter called the Antaryami Brahmana. And he also getting the message, he also retreats. Then everyone were thinking, now it's over. Yajnavalkya is going to take the cattle. And Yajnavalkya was about to take it. Then Gargi comes back again. And she tells the whole audience, now if you are feeling that Yajnavalkya has defeated everyone, now I am going to be the last one to be asking 2 questions. If you all accept the greatest questions that I have about the greatest secrets of this life, I am going to ask. And if you all feel and if you are confident about me, I will ask those 2 questions. If Yajnavalkya answers those 2 questions, then I will think and I will declare and certify Yajnavalkya as the greatest Jnani, greatest Brahmajnani. And you also should accept your defeat and you should allow Yajnavalkya to take the cattle and gifts forward. Do you all accept? Will you accept? And everyone thought, Gargi being the greatest Brahmavadini, she is telling the most difficult answer she will ask, then 100% we will be winning. Go and ask Gargi. Everyone accept it. Gargi comes forward and again challenges Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya, now I am here with 2 questions as the 2 strong arrows, the sharp arrows which can pierce your heart of knowledge. If you answer, I completely accept you are the greatest Jnani. Are you ready for it? Yajnavalkya says, I am ready for the question. Because you are telling it as the most difficult question. I want to know the difficult question that you are asking. Whether I know the answer, that is the second thing. I want to know the question. Gargi asks the first question. Because previous question was about the materialistic world, the matter, energy and all those details. It was about metaphysics. Now she is coming to the spiritual angle. She says, the whole world that was discussed till now, which is that principle, which is that being which controls, which sustains and which even takes the whole world back. And with ease, Yajnavalkya says it is the Ishvara. The Avyakta principle, being controlled by Ishvara, sustains, creates, and even takes back the whole world to himself. And Gargi says, wow, can you explain what is Ishvara? What is the principle of Ishvara? Ishvara here doesn't mean Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. No, it is the principle which was said in Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti abhisamvishanti. That principle was discussed. And he says, Ishvara is not just the intelligent cause where he is sitting somewhere and creating this world. Yajnavalkya went on to say, he is not just the intelligent principle, he is the resource also, the material in which the whole world is being created. The material cause is also Ishvara. Gargi says, you have answered it right. You have answered it right. And you are passing the first question. Now comes the second question. Much more difficult. Are you ready? Yajnavalkya says, yes, please go on. Then Gargi asks the most difficult question, which may be a very difficult question to even comprehend. She says, yes, you told Ishvara as the greatest, but who is the supporting, what is the supporting principle of Ishvara also? What is the essence of Ishvara? Without being, Ishvara is also not going to exist. Can we imagine the question? Can we imagine the height of the question that Gargi asked? The essence of Ishvara. Ishvara is also highest at the Vyavaharika level, but there is something beyond. Then Yajnavalkya says the answer as Parabrahma Tattva. Parabrahma Tattva, the Brahman, the existence, consciousness, bliss principle, the Satchidananda Swarupa Brahman. And he says this can be achieved only through one thing, that is Aupanishadic Purushaha. And he explains this Brahman cannot be defined as this. And he went on to say, Neti Neti Atma. It can be said, this is not that, this is not that. It is not like light, it is not heavy. It is not white, it is not dark. It cannot be defined. And what is it? It is the pure existence. And Gargi says, this is what I wanted. Now I certify you as the best best scholar in this whole gathering. You can take these cattle. And everyone accepted, and Janaka came forward to give all the cattle and gifts to him. At that time, one more person called Vidagdha Shakalya, he comes forward and says, no, I don't accept this. I have much more questions to ask. Yajnavalkya, without answering those questions, you can't take these cattle away. And all the scholars told, we all accepted, no? When Gargi came forward and told, you have to accept when I certified. Now Gargi has certified it and we have to accept. Don't break your promise. But that Shakalya told, no, I want to challenge Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya told, come, challenge me. I'm ready for the questions. And Vidagdha Shakalya started asking few questions, initially few sensible questions for which Yajnavalkya gave wonderful answers. But in the spirit of defeating Yajnavalkya, he went on to ask few questions which are illogical, irrational, senseless and baseless. This irritated the whole crowd because he is wasting everyone's time, and it is not the Sabha Maryada, meaning the decorum. He is losing the decorum. In that sense, when those things were coming, Yajnavalkya warned Vidagdha Shakalya saying, you are going beyond your limit. Ask some questions which are sensible. But Vidagdha Shakalya continued to ask similar, illogical, irrational questions. Finally, one answer Yajnavalkya gave to his question and told, if you continue to ask similar questions, similar illogical questions, your head will be burnt into ashes. He cursed that. And with that curse, next question he asked, and that was illogical, and his head was burnt into ashes. And everyone became, it was a smashana smauna, because such great effulgence coming out of Yajnavalkya even could destroy a person with his knowledge. Here we can understand it is not a destruction of the person, but it is the destruction of the ego that he had. And everyone accepted the defeat, and everyone told, Yajnavalkya, you are the greatest jnani. This is called Yajnavalkya Vijaya, that comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 3rd chapter. 3rd chapter. Now, after this, Janaka came and gave the gifts, and he says, you must be my guru.
and how it goes next we'll be seeing in the next story also. This is the end of this story.